White mom gives birth to black twins, and 10 years later, she gets an even bigger surprise. Claire had always believed motherhood would change her, but nothing prepared her for what happened in that delivery room. She was 34 when she gave birth to twin girls. Her husband Jason stood beside her, holding her hand through every contraction. Their nursery had already been painted a soft pastel green. Claire had bought matching teddy bears, monogram onesies, and tiny white booties that she'd pictured their daughters wearing home from the hospital. But when the first baby came out, the room fell silent. And when the second arrived, the silence turned sharp. Two beautiful black baby girls, soft brown skin, curly black hair, 10 tiny fingers on each. Claire, exhausted and overwhelmed, looked at them and smiled. "They're perfect," she whispered, her heart pounding with a mix of awe and adrenaline. But Jason didn't say a word. He just stared. And then, slowly, he stepped back from the bed. Claire didn't understand at first. She reached for him, confused, but he avoided her hand. He left the room without speaking. She wouldn't see him again. The next morning, a nurse handed Claire a manila envelope. Inside were divorce papers. No note, no explanation, just silence. The rumors began almost immediately. Nurses whispering. Friends who stopped returning her messages. Even her own parents asked hard questions with tight voices. Claire, her mother, said over the phone, "Is there something you need to tell us?" But Claire didn't flinch. She knew the truth. She hadn't cheated. She hadn't lied. She hadn't done anything wrong. And those girls, those two tiny, perfect lives, were hers. That was all that mattered. She named them Zaria and Zania, and she raised them on her own. Claire moved out of the suburbs and into a modest 2-bedroom apartment in a working-class neighborhood where no one asked too many questions. She got a job at a community center and picked up freelance accounting work in the evenings. She sold the engagement ring, bought a used car, and poured everything she had into her daughters. Zaria was a quieter one, thoughtful, observant, with a love for puzzles and winter sweaters. She'd curl up with books twice her reading level and sit silently for hours, absorbing. Zania was bold, bubbly, and full of questions, always choosing pajamas covered in stars, always dancing around the living room with unmatched socks and a wide grin. Claire made a promise to herself early on. She wouldn't hide anything. When the girls started asking questions about their appearance, she answered them gently. She taught them about melanin, about genetics, about love. She explained how skin color didn't define their worth, and how families weren't built by biology, but by bonds. Still, some nights, Claire lay awake wondering, where had they inherited those deep brown eyes, that radiant skin, those perfectly coiled curls? She submitted a DNA test once, one of those online kits that promised to reveal everything. But the results didn't explain much. Some mixed ancestry, some distant unknowns, but no close relatives, no magic answer. So Claire did what mothers do. She moved forward. She cheered at school plays, braided hair before bed, stayed up late sewing costumes for book day, and every year, on the twins' birthday, she told them the story of the day they were born and how they changed her life forever. She never remarried, never tried to explain herself. She didn't need to until one Saturday morning, 10 years after that unforgettable birth. Claire came downstairs to find her daughter sitting on the couch. Each of them was holding a newborn baby. Claire froze. Zaria wore her cream turtleneck sweater, holding the baby like she'd done it 1,000 times. Zania, in her red, white, and blue star pajamas, was smiling down at the infant in her lap. 2 babies, both newborns, both white. Claire's voice caught in her throat. "Girls, what is this?" The twins looked up. "We didn't know what else to do," Zaria said calmly. "She gave them to us." Xania added. She said you'd know what to do. Claire's legs gave out, and she sat, her heart pounding, breath shallow. Who gave them to you? Zaria reached into her pocket and handed her a folded piece of paper. Claire unfolded it. It was a letter, written in shaky handwriting, signed by a name she hadn't heard in years. And as Claire read the first line, her eyes filled with tears because the past she had buried wasn't done with her yet. Claire's hands trembled as she held the letter, her eyes scanning every word twice to make sure she wasn't imagining it. It was signed Leah, a name she hadn't spoken aloud in years. Leela, the sweet, shy biracial girl Claire had fostered when the twins were just newborns. She had only been 7 at the time, placed in Claire's care for 6 short months. But Claire remembered every detail. The way Leah always slept with the light on. The way she quietly asked to call her Mama Claire when no one else was around. She had wanted to adopt her. She tried. But one court date changed everything. A distant aunt had come forward with legal rights, and Leah was taken. Claire had watched from her front porch as the little girl was buckled into the back seat of a stranger's car, crying silently through the window. Now, 10 years later, she had returned through a letter with 2 newborns. Zaria and Xania were still on the couch, cradling the babies with remarkable calm. Claire looked up, still stunned. "Where did you see her?" she asked. "She was outside the library." Zaria said. She looked scared, like she hadn't slept. She said we reminded her of someone. Xania added, "She asked if you were our mom. Then she just handed us the babies." Claire covered her mouth with her hand, overwhelmed. "Did she say anything else?" she asked. "She cried a little." Zaria said softly. She said, "Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I remembered." Claire lowered herself to the floor and sat in front of them. She reached out and gently touched one of the baby's fingers. It curled instinctively around hers. The baby stirred, blinked once, then settled back into sleep. Later that day, Claire called Child Protective Services. She explained everything. The letter, the girls, the history. Her voice wavered but never broke. They opened an emergency custody case. The twins, Micah and Grace, as Leah had named them, were placed under Claire's temporary care. While the agency tried to locate the mother, a caseworker came to the house. She was surprised to find not chaos, but quiet joy. The girls helped warm bottles, changed diapers with gentle hands, swaddled as if they'd been born doing it. "You're a natural," the caseworker told Claire. She smiled through tired eyes. "This isn't my first time," Claire said softly. In the weeks that followed, Claire returned to routine she thought she'd long forgotten. Midnight feedings, early morning lullabies, diaper explosions, spit up and soft, gurgling laughter. But it was about more than just the babies. It was about what the letter meant. Leah had remembered. Claire had worried for years that she'd failed that child, that she'd been too gentle, not loud enough, not legally powerful enough to protect her. But Leah had carried her in memory, and when her life reached its breaking point, she hadn't run to a shelter. They came home. It was a rainy Thursday morning when the knock came. Claire was rinsing bottles at the sink when she heard it. She paused, dried her hands, opened the door. And there she was, Leah, soaked from the storm. Thin, tired, but unmistakably her. She looked up, voice cracking. "I didn't know if you'd hate me," she whispered. Claire said nothing. She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around her. Leah sobbed into her shoulder like the child she used to be. They stayed there for minutes, motionless in the rain. Inside, Zaria and Xania appeared from the living room. One of the babies stirred. Leah stepped inside, eyes wide with emotion. She walked to the couch and knelt beside the newborns. "I didn't know what to do," she whispered. "I wanted to do right by them, but I didn't think I could." Claire gently touched her shoulder. You did the bravest thing you could do. You brought them to someone who would love them. Leah looked up. Do you still want to stay? Claire's voice didn't waver. You never left. In the following weeks, Leah stayed in the guest room. She started therapy, met with a social worker, and began piecing together her next chapter. Claire didn't pressure her. She just listened, helped, and loved. One night, as they folded laundry together, Leah turned and said, I used to dream about your house, not the furniture, just the feeling. I never forgot it. Claire squeezed her hand. Neither did I. Eventually, the caseworker offered Claire legal guardianship of the babies. Leah wanted to share custody, but asked if Claire could be their primary guardian until she found her footing. Claire agreed without hesitation, and on the day the paperwork was signed, Claire looked around the small, crowded living room. Her two beautiful black daughters sat shoulder to shoulder, reading bedtime stories. Leela, now 17, burped one baby while humming softly. Claire held the other infant close to her chest. 10 years ago, they had called her a liar. Now she was the one raising 4 children, 2 by birth, 2 by heart, and being called something else entirely, Mom. And this time, no one questioned it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.